8 more hostages held by Hamas in Gaza have been released amid chaotic scenes as part of the ceasefire deal with Israel. 3 Israeli and 5 Thai nationals were handed over to the Red Cross by Hamas before being transferred to Israeli force and taken to Israel. A total of 110 Palestinians were later released from Israeli prisons, including 32 with life sentences and 30 minors. Israeli delayed their release in response to the way the hostages were treated as they were handed over. Thursday's release means 15 hostages have been freed since the ceasefire came into effect on the 19th of January. 82 and still are being held. Also, Israel soldier Agam Berger, 20 years old, was being the first to be released on Thursday, led by masked gunmen through a scene of rubble in a stage-managed event in Jabalia in the north of Gaza. Crowd of civilians were kept back by armed Hamas fighter as she appeared on a platform and was given a certificate before being passed to the Red Cross. She was one of the 7 women who was unarmed unit of observers who were kidnapped on the 7th of October 2023 and the last remaining in Gaza. In Tel Aviv's Hostages Square, crowds watching on a big screen cheered. "I'm thrilled to see her face, to see her going back to her family. It's exciting," Yahel Oren, who served in the same unit as Ms. Berger a decade ago, told the BBC. Photos released by the Israeli military showed her hugging 4 other young women from the unit who were released in the previous exchange on Saturday. In a statement, her family said they had and they could now begin the healing process, but that the recovery will not be complete until all the hostages return home. About 2 hours later in Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza, the 7 other hostages were brought out amid the chaotic scenes. They were led by armed fighters through crowds of cheering spectators, many filming with mobile phones before being handed over to the Red Cross in waiting vehicles. It took place symbolically in front of the remains of the home bombed by Israel of late Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, the architect of the 7 October attack. Sinwar was killed by Israeli troops in Rafah in October 2024. There was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of pushing, a journalist who covered the handover told the BBC. There were chants of Sinwar name and for Hamas, he said. A woman in the crowd said she was proud of Gaza's men and Gaza's resistance. In Tel Aviv, people watched anxiously as they held Israeli flags and photos of the hostages. In a sign of precariousness of the ceasefire, the release of the prisoners was paused by Israel until it received assurances that the scenes which accompanied the release of the hostage in the Khan Yunis would not be repeated. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the shocking scenes were additional proof of the inconceivable brutality of the Hamas terrorist organization.